My name's Jake, and I want to share something deeply personal with you today. Something that, for a long time, I never really understood, until I went through it myself. You see, love is complicated. We all talk about it, we all seek it, but how many of us truly understand it? Sometimes, people fake love, pretending everything is okay when deep down, they know it's not. I didn't understand why people did this, until I saw it happen with my best friend, Chris. This isn't just about Chris and his relationship, this is about how love can be misunderstood, misused, or faked altogether, and how that affects everyone involved. So, let me take you through a story, my story, about why people fake love. A couple of years ago, my best friend Chris was in a relationship with Emily. On the outside, everything seemed perfect, really. They were one of those couples you'd see on social media, always posting cute pictures, going on trips, and telling everyone about their future plans. Everyone thought they were the perfect couple. But if you were around them long enough, you'd notice the small cracks in their relationship. At first, I thought it was just the usual stuff. Everyone has their ups and downs, right? But over time, I saw something different. Chris started pulling away, emotionally. He was distant, and not just in the "I need space" way. He wasn't engaged in conversations with Emily like he used to be, and when they spent time together, he seemed distracted. I thought it was just a phase, maybe stress from work or something else. But then one night, after a night out with the group, Chris pulled me aside. "Jake," he said quietly, his face tense, "I don't know if I can do this anymore." I was stunned. "What do you mean, do this?" "Do what?" I asked, confused. "Emily. This. Us. I don't think I love her anymore." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had seen them happy, laughing together just the other day. How could things go from that to this? What had changed? But as Chris spoke, it all started to make sense. It wasn't just one thing. It was a build-up of months, maybe even years, of emotional neglect. Over the next few weeks, I began to notice the gap growing wider between Chris and Emily. They barely talked anymore, and when they did, it wasn't the same. It was like they were going through the motions. Emily still tried. She would send him sweet texts, arrange little surprises for him, and even start talking about moving in together. But Chris seemed less and less interested, more irritated by the things she did. It wasn't just Emily who was affected. Chris started withdrawing from our group too. He stopped hanging out with us as often and avoided our group chats. When we did see him, he wasn't himself, distracted, irritable, like he was somewhere else, even though physically, he was right there. I remember one evening, Emily invited us all over for dinner at her place. It was supposed to be a fun, casual evening. But you could feel the tension between her and Chris, even in a room full of people. They didn't talk to each other much, and when they did, it was brief and cold. Everyone noticed it, even our friends who never usually paid attention to the details. At some point during the evening, Emily pulled me aside. She asked if I could talk to Chris. She was worried. "Jake," she said, her eyes wide with concern, "something's wrong. I don't know if I'm just imagining things, but Chris has been pulling away. He's not the same. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and it's killing me. Do you think he still loves me?" I didn't know what to say. I could see it too. Chris wasn't just emotionally distant, he was emotionally checked out. But I didn't know how to tell Emily that. She deserved the truth, but I didn't want to hurt her either. I had seen Chris go through some tough times before, and I didn't want to believe he was faking it. But I knew, deep down, he was. A few days later, things took a turn for the worse. Chris and Emily had a huge argument. I wasn't there, but I could hear about it from Emily the next day. She was upset, heartbroken, and confused. She told me that during their argument, Chris finally admitted something. "Jake," he said it. He said, "I don't know if I love you anymore." He said he was just staying with me because he didn't want to hurt me. He didn't want to let me down, and that was why he had been pretending all this time. But now, he was ready to face the truth. I was stunned. Chris had admitted it, but it felt like a punch to the gut for both of us. I knew something was off for a while, but hearing him say it out loud made it real. Emily deserved better than this. She deserved someone who was fully there, someone who loved her in the way she loved him. But then, a strange thing happened. A few days after their argument, Chris called me. He was upset, and I could tell that he was conflicted. He wasn't sure what to do. He cared for Emily, but he wasn't in love with her anymore. And the worst part? He felt trapped. He was afraid of breaking up with her because of the guilt. He didn't want to hurt her. "Jake," he said, his voice low, "I don't know what to do. I've been faking it for so long, and now I feel like I'm suffocating. But if I break up with her, it'll destroy her. I don't know if I can do that." Chris's confession hit me hard. I could see how torn he was, how much guilt he felt. But the truth was, he was doing more harm by staying than he would by leaving. Emily deserved someone who was fully invested, someone who loved her for who she was. She didn't deserve to be a part of a relationship where the other person wasn't all in. Over the next few weeks, things only got worse. Emily knew something was wrong. She wasn't blind. She started questioning herself. Was it something she had done? Was she not good enough? I could see the sadness in her eyes whenever we spoke, and it broke my heart. I didn't have the answers for her, and I couldn't tell her everything I knew. But I knew one thing: faking love is never the answer. As time went on, I began to see how faking love didn't just affect Chris and Emily, it affected everyone around them. Emily started distancing herself from the group. She stopped showing up to our usual hangouts. Her smile seemed forced, and the light in her eyes slowly started fading. I could feel the tension in the group every time Chris wasn't around. We all knew that something was wrong, but no one knew how to fix it. And then there was Chris. His guilt and stress were eating him alive. He wasn't the same guy I had known. He had become quiet, withdrawn, and sometimes, I could see him at the edge of breaking down. He didn't know how to fix things either, and in trying to avoid hurting Emily, he had hurt her even more. Finally, after months of tension, Chris and Emily broke up. It wasn't easy. It was a long conversation, full of tears, apologies, and a lot of heartache. Emily cried, she was devastated, but at least she knew the truth. And Chris? He was heartbroken too. He had been holding on to guilt for so long, trying to fix something that wasn't broken, just misaligned. Looking back, I realized that faking love only causes more pain. People do it for all sorts of reasons: fear, comfort, guilt, or even loneliness. But no matter the reason, pretending to love someone or pretending to be loved is never the answer. It's better to face the truth, no matter how hard it is. Because when you fake love, you rob both yourself and the other person of the chance to find something real. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you were faking love? Or have you ever had to confront someone who was pretending to love you? Share your experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember, the truth always comes out, and it's better to face it head on. Thanks for watching.